Welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for being here. As always, before we get started, you guys, let's just do a quick mic check. Mic check 1 2. Let's make sure we're looking and sounding good. It's been a couple weeks, you guys. Also, for what it's worth, we are live on TikTok right now. Second time I've been live on TikTok. I'm trying to go live on Instagram, but for some reason it's not working. But whatever, doesn't matter. Maybe I can edit it while I'm talking. But yeah, guys, it's been a while. Um, been busy. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. You've heard me say it on this channel before. You've heard me say it again many times. Uh, or you'll hear me say it many more times in the future. Uh, Real life comes first, you guys, and I've been very busy. That is an understatement. And let's just say this though. Now that assuming that there's no like league altering trade, can assuming that there's no like big time Phoenix Suns trade, which there might be, you never know. Um, Now that we're sort of like in the thank you, Brian, for letting me know we're looking and sounding good. But now that we're sort of like in the slower days of the off season, assuming that there's no big Phoenix Suns trade, no big NBA trade, and now that I'm sort of in this like transition kind of period with my life and my job right now, because that's one thing I've been very busy with is my life and my job. Um, I am hoping, fingers crossed, because lots can change. I'm hoping that I'll be able to do more live shows. That's why I didn't really cover like the Bradley Beal stuff and all that. I tried my best, but it's just been so crazy. It's been so busy, lots going on. Some days I just come home and I'm just exhausted. You know what I mean? So, like I said, real life comes first, but that doesn't matter. You guys aren't here for that. You guys are here for me to talk about the latest Phoenix Suns news. And well, that's what we're going to do. And for some reason, we can't go live on Instagram right now. But like I said, during the live show, I will eventually change that. So let's see if we can actually do that right now before we get started. So let's just cancel that. Boom. Maybe we can just do this. See if that works. Anyways, all right, cool. So the latest Phoenix Suns news, you guys, so much to talk about. If you guys have any comments, questions, topics, things you want me to discuss, please let me know. But while we're waiting on that, we did have a little bit of Phoenix Suns news yesterday, and it kind of sort of seemed like, in a way, that our off season, uh, in a way, sort of ended yesterday. There's obviously a couple trades we could do. There's the Jonathan Kuminga stuff. We'll get to all of that later. But but I do feel like this is worth discussing. So just yesterday, and let me share my screen, make sure we're all there. Okay, let's just do that. Boom. So yesterday, the Phoenix Suns, and yeah, Brian, I see your comment. We'll definitely talk about that in a little bit. But let's catch up on this first. Excuse me. The Phoenix Suns yesterday signed, or should I say, claimed off waivers, but they claimed off waivers, former Phoenix Sun Jordan Goodwin off free agency waivers. Goodwin was waived by the Lakers to create roster space for Marcus Smart. This is a gritty upside pick for the Phoenix Suns backcourt. Don't forget, you guys, Jordan Goodwin played on the Suns a couple years ago, and I actually have a quote about that. I will put everything that I'm citing and reading, everything that I'm reading, I'll put in the description box after the show. I meant to do it before, but whatever. This is a quote from Arizona Sports, and I kind of like the way that this is written. Quote, Jordan Goodwin has bounced around after spending his first 2 seasons with the Washington Wizards. He was included in the Bradley Beal for Chris Paul swap between Phoenix and Washington 2 years ago and played 40 games with the Phoenix Suns in 2023-24. I can't talk. The show's off to a great start. Jordan Goodwin was shipped to the Brooklyn Nets in the Royce O'Neal deal, but he immediately got waived. He didn't play with them. He joined the injury-plagued Memphis Grizzlies for the rest of that season, averaging 10 points, 4 assists, and 8 rebounds in 17 games. 12 of them he started. Jordan Goodwin's sort of a low-key, sneaky good rebounder, especially for his size. He played 29 games, I believe, for the Los Angeles Lakers last year and averaged 5.6 points and nearly 4 rebounds per game. So Jordan Goodwin is back with the Phoenix Suns, you guys. And I know that this isn't really like I'm trying to look at a way to phrase this. I know that there's some quote discourse out there, some conversations, probably a lot of it on social media, probably a lot of Suns fans complaining, if you will, doing what Suns Twitter always does. But I know that there's a little bit of like discourse out there of like the Suns, point guard situation is very flawed. It's very concerning. But I think we are now back, and I think John Gambadoro talked about this. I think we are now back to where it's going to be, and this will be a conversation we'll talk about, but I think we are now back to Devin Booker is going to be the primary point guard, but Jalen Green will be running a little bit of point guard. More of that later. This is pretty much a potential third, fourth string guard who the Phoenix Suns will now have. Because, yes, we have Colin Gillespie, who I'm really excited for. He had a great season with us last year. Now we have Jordan Goodwin, and we have Jared Butler, who I'm going to talk about in a little bit. And we just seem to have like a lot of guards. And I know some people might be concerned with like the Suns don't have a true playmaker out there and yada, yada, yada. Guys, we've been through this before. I got to full screen myself for this. We've been through this before, Suns fans. First, Devin Booker, who actually has a pretty good assist, I don't know about assist to turnover ratio, but Devin Booker has averaged a good amount of assists throughout his career. He averaged maybe 6, 7 assists last year? Don't quote me on that. I'll have to look it up later. Don't have it right in front of me. Devin Booker can play make when he wants to. He can put the ball where it needs to go. He can run the offense. And Jalen Green is actually a better playmaker for the most part than I give him credit for, and has averaged more assists than I give him credit for. We'll look into that in a minute. We have guys that can take up the ball and do things with the ball. And this is why I'm saying, like, we've been through this before. We've seen what Point Booker can be. We're going to find out what Point Jalen Green can be. But we have guys that can take the ball up, kind of lighten the load for Devin Booker and Jalen Green, can set up our offense. And I know that the point guard position, the playmaking position, isn't the greatest in the league. But remember, we had Tyus Jones last year, and that did not work. We didn't get Chris Paul. More on that later. It just kind of is what it is. But I do know that we have a lot of guards, and we have a lot of guards that can play make at times. And I like to, not that I like to, I want to have you guys remember this, that we have a brand new head coach in Jordan Knott and a soon to be new coaching staff. I think he might have hired a couple assistants already, but we have a new coaching staff, a new head coach. It's going to be a new offense. The Suns are going to look different this upcoming season. This is not Mike Budenholzer offense. This is not Frank Vogel offense. This is going to be a different offense, a different team with a lot of guards. Even if we trade like Grayson Allen, for example, more on that later, we're going to have a lot of guards who can put the ball where it needs to be. And I think I'm okay with Point Book, and I think I'm okay with Point Jalen Green. Maybe a few years ago, you could hear me on my show saying, I'm not okay with Devin Booker. I don't like Point Book, blah, blah, blah. And there have been times I've been critical of Point Devin Booker. But again, it's a different team. It's a different season. It's a different coaching staff. And Jalen Green will have responsibilities on offense and playmaking. So it won't just be fully on Devin Booker. I need to take a sip of my water. So the Phoenix Suns have signed Jordan Goodwin. And that wasn't the only move they did, though. Let's get to this right here. I think I have a few tweets on this as well. The same day, I believe this was just a few hours later after signing Jordan Goodwin, the Phoenix Suns signed Jared Butler to a 1-year deal with the Phoenix Suns. Mark Bartelstein and Kieran Pyler, I probably butchered that name, of Priority Sports tell ESPN. The 2021 second rounder averaged 9 points in 17 minutes in over 60 contests for the 76ers and the Washington Wizards last year. Now, there was one tweet I want to find on it. I thought I had it ready to go. Let me just look for it real quick. Let's see. Oh, that's not it. I think it was like his stats from the Wizards last year. Let's see. Give me a second here, guys. I'm sorry. I thought I had this ready to go. Well, they announced the signing earlier. So, yeah, here we go. This is the tweet I was looking for. Sorry, guys. Okay. Shout out to Andrew Leesus for this tweet. Now, keep in mind, you guys, this was with the Washington Wizards, who, by the way, should have the draft pick of Cooper Flagg because they were the worst team in the league last year besides the Jazz. And, you know, they're obviously rebuilding. They should definitely have the number 1 pick. But anyways, so remember that that this is not Jordan Goodwin. This is Jared Butler's stats on the Washington Wizards, who were very bad last year. And keep in mind that this is per 36 minutes. But Jared Butler, per 36 minutes, nearly 22 points per game, 8.2 assists, 1.2 steals, 37% from three. Only 24 years old, could be a massive reward, low risk, kind of high move for the Phoenix Suns. And this is Jared Butler if you want to get a closer look at him flexing his muscles. And you know what, guys? It's no secret that on this channel and me as a Suns fan in general, it's no secret that I am very optimistic, sometimes to a fault. I'm a little too positive. I'm a little too happy and excited for the Suns, on the exception of last season, because last season was probably the negative, the most negative. Last season was the most negative, the most pessimistic, the most down I've been on as a Suns fan in I don't remember how long. Even back in the day, before we drafted Devin Booker, it was I expected us to be bad. I expected us to lose a lot of games. So even though it was, dark times for the Suns and we were winning 18 games a year, it was that kind of was expected. And I know I'm kind of going on a tangent. I'm talking of 5 different subjects at one time, but my point being is back in the dark days of the Suns, we knew we were going to be bad, but we knew that there was potential there. Like when we drafted Devin Booker, for example. But last year was the most negative I've ever been as a Suns fan. It was even hard to watch the games. And I said it so many times on this channel. I was like, guys, I do not blame you if you are not watching the Phoenix Suns. Years ago, I would have shamed you guys for that. But last year, I was like, I get it. Go live your life. Go hang out. Go see a movie. Go do whatever. Don't watch the Suns. That's how bad it was. But anyways, I'm getting off topic here. So here's sort of the main point that I'm trying to get at. So let me just read you this quick last part of the tweet here. Only 24 years old, could be a massive reward, low risk move for the Phoenix Suns. Here was my whole point and rant and tangent that I was going on. I'm very excited for this team. I'm not saying we're going to be good. I'm not saying we're going to be like the NBA champions. We're a finals contender. We're not. Most likely, we're not going to be that unless we like shock the world and we like we surpass our expectations, right? But here's why I'm kind of excited, because last season was some of the least competitive basketball that I've ever seen. And it sort of like stood out when the Suns would actually compete and come back in games, and they were down 20 and would come back and win. And it was kind of like it stood out when like there was like fire in the Suns' eyes. It stood out when like it was gritty defensive basketball, you know? And that's why I'm excited about this team. That's why I kind of have a lot of high expectations for this team, because we have a lot of younger guys on our team, which a lot of you asked for, by the way. Remember when a lot of you were like, I want draft picks and I want younger players and blah, 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 blah. Well, you got it. We are younger. We are more athletic. Hopefully, we will block more shots because we have a lot more size on this team. And I hope that the Phoenix Suns, Matt Ishbia, GM Brian Gregory, the Suns front office, even Jordan Ott, I hope everything that they've been saying and preaching about, we're going to be more competitive. We're going to have guys that pick up like 94 feet, always competing on every possession, playing great defense, diving for loose balls, et cetera, et cetera. I really hope that that comes true. Because again, we have a lot of young guys on this team. We have a lot of defensive dogs on this team. We have guys that are like Kaman Malawach out from Duke, who we drafted with the 10th pick. We got guys that are like 18, that are like young and hungry. So I really hope that like we get competitive basketball night in and night out. And not only that, I hope that we are just fun and exciting to watch. And like, I know it's not all about highlights and slam dunks and alley oops, but like, I hope that we get that, because we didn't get that much last season. And that's why I'm just so excited. Like, I don't know what this team's going to look like. I know there's like a lot of discourse on like point Booker, point Jalen Green. We need a real point guard. We need this. We need that, blah, blah, blah. The way I look at it, you guys, is we are in a transition period from the post KD, post Bradley Beal era. We're finally like getting under the luxury tax and the second apron and all that stuff, blah, 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 boring salary cap stuff that you guys really don't care about. And again, hopefully we will be more competitive. We will be more exciting. And I pray to the NBA gods that we will be that our future is bright, that our team will have a bright future. And I know if you're a hardcore Arizona sports fan, that's hard to believe. But as somebody who's been a longtime Phoenix Suns fan who loves this team, that's all I can hope and pray for as a Suns fan. So, like when I was reading that tweet about Jared Butler, he's 24 years old, could be like a high reward if it works out. And even like guys like Jalen Green, who I also think is 24, and like Mark Williams and Kaman Malawach, and like all these guys we picked up. Some of these guys I haven't even talked about on this channel. It's how busy I've been. It's like, what if some of these guys, what if like just a handful of them pan out? What if like 5 of them just pan out? Like, what if like Kobe Brea, who, I think he might have only played 3 games or 2 games in summer league. What if Kobe Brea is like one of the best shooters in the league this upcoming year as a rookie? Like, what if he pops? You know what I mean? Like, the possibilities are endless. And that's my biased, delusional, optimistic sort of take, if you will. That's why I'm going on this long tangent and rant. So I'm excited, you guys. But I didn't talk enough about Jared Butler. Real quick, you guys. Again, I know that there's not too many people watching right now. I know a lot of you guys will probably be tuning in later, but questions, comments, concerns. I will talk about the Jonathan Kuminga stuff in a minute. Um, and but anyways, so let's talk about Jared Butler because I read an article on Bright Side of the Sun. Again, I will link that in the description. Let me actually real quick just link the Arizona sports article. It is worth reading about Jordan Goodwin if you're not too familiar. Remember, he is a former Phoenix Sun, so but let's see. Okay, well, can we post that or no? That's weird. Okay, it's not letting me post it in the chat. I'll do it in the description later, um but yeah, definitely I'm excited that we're bringing back Jordan Goodwin. Because even though it's a new team, new coaching staff, et cetera, at least Jordan Goodwin is familiar with the Valley. He even posted on his Instagram story a picture of him and Devin Booker, I think with like a Drake song, maybe. So it is what it is. I'm excited. I'm glad he's back. Uh, and hopefully he'll bring some competitiveness to this team. But to stay focused, let's talk about Jared Butler, one of the newcomers of this team. I read an article on Bright Side of the Sun, and I sort of liked and I could be saying this wrong. I liked the sub headline of it. I'm not a writer. I know nothing about writing and posting articles, but the sort of sub headline on Bright Side of the Sun was, quote, Jared Butler adds to the Suns' commitment to development over splash. And my guy John Voida from Bright Side of the Sun and the Suns Jam Session podcast wrote this article. And I love that. The sort of sub headline is Jared Butler adds to the Suns' commitment to development over splash. So pretty much we're developing young guys who have a lot of potential over getting Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal or LeBron James or whoever. I got to take a sip of my water. Delicious. If you live in Arizona like I do, or if you live in a hot state, friendly reminder to drink some water. Heck, even if you don't live in a hot state and you're watching this live show, this is a friendly reminder to go drink some water, please. Especially if you have water with electrolytes. I'm on TikTok now. Oh, and I just wanted to see if I was live. Maddox Mel, I appreciate you, man. I'm checking things out on TikTok. He said, all we need was to get out of that second apron. We can now sign more in free agency and trade. Jared Butler is very underrated. Jordan got good size and good wingspan for a guard. Thank you, Maddox. I appreciate you tuning in on TikTok. Again, you guys, we are live on TikTok and YouTube right now. And I think we're live on Facebook as well. I'm not too sure on that, but yeah, we're live, you guys. So appreciate everybody that's tuning in. Appreciate that. So Maddox, thank you so much, man. I don't go live on TikTok too much, but I'm trying to do it more. So thank you for the support if you're still watching. All right, guys. So speaking of Jared Butler, let's continue on with what I was saying because I keep losing track of everything I'm talking about. Like Maddox said, Jared Butler is very underrated. He's still a young guy and he's played for two bad basketball teams, but maybe this is his chance to break out. So, as we mentioned, Shams Charania is reporting that Jared Butler is joining the Phoenix Suns on a one-year deal. Quote, bringing with him a skill set that mirrors Jordan Goodwin's in many ways. Tough, poised, and hungry for an opportunity. The backcourt is getting deeper. The competition is heating up. And Phoenix is quietly building out the kind of roster that values effort, edge, and upside. Close quote. Again, that came from Bright Side of the Sun. But that's exactly why I went on that long rant and long tangent about hopefully this team is more competitive, athletic, and just overall better, despite like what our winning record is and what our, just what our record is. A little bit more information about Jordan. No, I keep saying Jordan Goodwin. A little bit more information about Jared Butler. Coming out of Baylor, he was selected 40th overall in the 2021 NBA draft by the Pelicans. He's made stops with 4 different franchises: the Jazz, Thunder, Wizards, and most recently the 76ers. But he's just dealt with a lot of injuries. Played in 28 games last year for the Sixers. 17 of them started in 17 games. I'm sorry. Averaged 11 and a half points per game on pretty good shooting splits. 43% from the field, 35% from 3, and then 87% from the field. And then continuing on here, confident shooter, confident playmaker, keep the offense organized, if you will. Not great on the defensive end, but again, you guys, maybe this is like the off season where he focuses in and hones in on defense. You just never know with Jared Butler. Who knows? He could all surprise us on the defensive end. So that's a little bit of, like, I guess sort of a get to know our newest comer. I'll share the screen one more time. Here's a photo of him. Jared Butler, the newest member of the Phoenix Suns. And it seems like there's a lot of guys. There's guys that we've like signed that I've like barely talked about because I just haven't made the time to talk about them on this channel. But again, you guys, like, I want to talk about it later, but we have the rest of the off season to do that. And speaking of that, you guys, I'm recording this on July 24th, 2025. I mean, we have baseball season going on right now, the WNBA season, football starting soon, and training camp usually starts, I want to say, like early October, if not before, and then preseason's in October, and then bam, like the NBA season's here. So it may not seem like it, but basketball season is like right around the corner, you guys, sort of. Like, we're going to have our dog days of the NBA. Football season will start. That will keep some of us held down. And then, like, all of a sudden, oh, training camp for the Suns is here. And then preseason's here. And then, bam, the NBA season's here. So just hang tight, you guys. We got a couple more months, but it's going to fly by, you guys. Okay. So let's talk about this, shall we? Because I think that this was, I don't know if it was reported today or yesterday. Yeah, I think it was reported today by John Gambadoro of Arizona Sports. Let's just make sure I'm getting this right. No, that's not it. Where'd it go? Okay, so here we go. Let's see. Okay. Well, where did the point book stuff go? I thought I had it. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry, you guys. My fault. A lot going on here. How's everybody's Thursday going, by the way, if you're still watching? Let me know if you guys are still tuning in. Even if you're watching later, let me know how your week's going. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's just do that. Here we go. I found it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm stupid. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. Yes, we will talk about the Jonathan Kuminga stuff. I don't really know if I have too much of an opinion on it, but like I do have some thoughts too. So here we go, you guys. Now, I just want to start off by saying this. I didn't actually listen to what John Gambadoro of Arizona Sports said, but I did see this going around. Now remember, this was tweeted out yesterday at 5:50 p.m. Devin Booker will be the Phoenix Suns' full-time starting guard next season, per Gambo. Booker, who averaged a career-high 7.1 assists per game, I knew it. I knew he averaged at least 7. We'll have the entire offensive system flow through him. And again, this is nothing new to Devin Booker. He's run point guard before. And again, he will have a new offensive coach, a new offensive system, and new players that will hopefully make Point Booker look like a great thing. And if there's one underrated thing about Devin Booker that I think a lot of just fans in general sleep on is his playmaking. Like, I think if you asked sort of like the quote casual fans of just basketball in general, how many assists did Devin Booker average last year? Bet you a lot of people would say like 4, 5. I don't think a lot of people would say 7. You know what I mean? So I'm excited for Point Book. Now, I think there was some stuff about Jalen Green. I just want to make sure I'm getting this right. So give me 1 second, you guys, because I thought I saw something going around about Jalen Green. Now, let me just make sure. Where did I see this at? Because there was something going on with like Fred VanVleet, and they were like, oh, here's Jalen Green's numbers or whatever. Yeah, okay, so here it is. So John Gambadoro was, talking about just like our sort of like rotation, if you will. He started off with this tweet. Adjustment here. Adjustment here. Plan will likely be Green at point guard, not Devin Booker, which is weird. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, so is it going to be point Book? Is it going to be point Jalen Green? I don't know. Gillespie will be the backup with Jordan Goodwin and Butler battling for the third point guard spot. Then he goes, Jalen Green's numbers when Fred VanVleet was out last season and he ran the point guard are actually decent. Averaged 19 points per game. We all know he can score. 4.5 boards and 4.5 assists in 22 games without Fred VanVleet in the 2024-25 season. Had 8 games. Sorry, guys. He had 8 games of 5 or more assists and had 10 assists versus the Jazz and 8 versus New Orleans and Orlando. So again, I'm like, I don't know if the point Book thing, like, I don't know. Like, I guess I need to listen to what Gambo's saying instead of just relying on his tweets. But that's what I think we're just going to get point Book or point Jalen Green or both. And I'm okay with that. So let me know what you guys think. Point Book, point Jalen Green, neither. Should the Suns go sign a point guard? I don't know. We'll see. One more thing before we get into the Jonathan Kuminga stuff. Because again, I'm sure there's been a lot of talk on other channels and podcasts about it. We'll talk about the Jonathan Kuminga stuff. But one more thing before we get to that. As of July 24th, here is the Suns' current projected rotation next season. Now, again, trades could still happen. A lot of stuff could happen from now to the start of the season. But, oh, by the way, Kyrie Irving is like live right now, apparently. Anyways, projected starters: Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Ryan Dunn, Mark Williams. That could obviously change. I don't really know about that starting lineup, but like I don't hate it either. The power forward position kind of concerns me because, like, I mean, Ryan Dunn's an excellent defender, but like, there's a lot of giant dudes in the NBA that play power forward. You know what I mean? Second unit: Colin Gillespie, Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, Rasheer Fleming, Kamal Malawach. And then, we got like our other rookies like Kobe Brea, et cetera, Jordan Goodwin, Jared Butler, the list goes on and on. And remember, you guys, you can only have 15 players on your NBA roster at the start of the season, but like headed into training camp, I think even during the preseason, I think you can have like 18. So that's just the roster as of now. I'm very sure it's going to change. Okay. Finally getting to the Jonathan Kuminga stuff. Finally. Let's finally talk about the Jonathan Kuminga stuff. I actually had this conversation with a coworker today. And like I promise I'm not trying to be hot takey because you guys know I avoid that stuff. I don't like clickbait. I don't like hot takes and all that. But let me just kind of fill you in case you've missed it. There's been a lot of rumors, even before today. There's just been a lot of rumors in general about Jonathan Kuminga. But as of today, and Shams Charania like came out and reported it. as of today, the Sacramento Kings and the Phoenix Suns are the top two teams currently in pursuit of Jonathan Kuminga. Both teams have made official sign and trade offers to the Warriors over the past week. Kuminga is prioritizing a larger role, whether that's with Golden State or somewhere else. And then if we go to Shams Charania's Twitter, I think even today he said something along the lines of like, there's been, quote, concrete offers or something like that. And I just want to, again, make sure I'm getting this correctly because I saw another tweet on it too. But yeah, it was like concrete offers on, yeah, here we go. And you know what? Before we talk about the concrete offers, this came from Anthony Slater from I believe it was The Athletic, or he might be with ESPN now. Is he with ESPN now? Yeah, he actually just started at ESPN, covers the Warriors and the NBA at large for ESPN. So congratulations to Anthony Slater. That's awesome. Wrote for The Athletic for a long time and does great work covering the Warriors. But now this is a long statement. So we're going to read it about Jonathan Kuminga. Quote, Jonathan Kuminga is not interested in being a secondary option, per Anthony Slater. Quote, beyond the contract demands, Kuminga is in search for more of a guaranteed, consistent starting role and featured opportunities, sources said. Well, first off, starting off with that right there, Phoenix sounds like a great place for Jonathan Kuminga, if you want that. Quote, that's something both the Suns and Kings have pitched. Kuminga would be a significant part of the Warriors' rotation to open next season, and they'll need his scoring on nights that either Steph Curry, 37, Jimmy Butler, 35 years old, are resting or injured. That's something that head coach Steve Kerr has voiced to Kuminga in recent weeks. Kerr has been one of the leading voices trying to patch this together, sources said. But Kuminga no longer wants to be the secondary option or a fallback plan, fearing a minimization in important moments. He scored 18, 30, 23, and 26 in the final 4 playoff games against the Timberwolves after Steph Curry went down. And look, you guys, again, I promise I'm not trying to be like hot takey. I promise I'm not like trying to, be negative, if you will. I'm not like crazy about Jonathan Kuminga. Again, I'm not trying to be clickbaity. I'm not trying to be hot takey. And look, in all fairness, because I'm going to pull it up in a second here. In all fairness, like Jonathan Kuminga has gotten better, especially statistically wise. He has gotten better like each year he's been in the league. So like I'll give him credit for that. I'm trying to find like the slide where here. Okay, here it is. Oops, that's not it. Like he has improved. He's gotten better and better each season. But like I kind of think he's overrated. Like I think there's a lot of like quote discourse, if you will, that people are like, Jonathan Kuminga is going to be an all-star. And this is the season where Jonathan Kuminga is going to blow up or whatever. I'm like, he's good and he's athletic and he's fun to watch at times. And I feel like he's had good games against the Suns. But I'm like, is he really that good? I'm not trying to trash on him or anything. I'm not trying to sound like a hater, but and look, I mean, even Shams Charania earlier, when he was reporting for NBA Today on ESPN, like these are his numbers the last 4 years. They're not bad. Let me just minimize myself real quick so you guys can see. Oops, that's not it. Sorry, guys. They're customized. Lower that. I mean, again, guys, the numbers aren't bad. Like last season, 15 points per game on 45% shooting. In 2023, 16 points per game on 53% shooting. Like the potential's there, and he's still a young player. Like I see the vision, but I just kind of think he's overrated. Maybe that's just because he plays for the Warriors. I'm sure if he played for the Suns, I would love him and like take back every bad thing I've ever said about him. But like, just kind of think he's overrated. I don't know. You guys let me know. You guys are the experts out there. You let me know. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Um, so I guess now, you guys, we will kind of open up the floor. I have some other things we could talk about, but again, we could always talk about it like during another live show. Let me just tune in. Oops. Let me just tune in to the TikTok and see if anybody's saying anything. If you have a question on TikTok, I'll try to keep my eye on the chat. Um, if you have a question on YouTube, let me know. If not, you guys, that's totally cool. I wasn't planning on going live for long, anyways. Um, the other stuff we can talk about later, but let me just make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. Well, get your guys' questions in right now if you have them. If not, that's cool. I guess the final thing we'll talk about is Chris Paul. Ooh, actually, two more quick things that actually are Suns related. Kind of. It's more of just like a rumor, you know what I mean? Um, let's see. Here we go. Let's do this. Boom. Sorry, guys. You already know the drill here. One man show. Okay. Why can't I screen share? There we go. Perfect. Thank you for working. Whoa, what is going on? Okay. That's not what I wanted to share. Whoops. There we go. Okay. So again, it's just a rumor. It's just a rumor, you guys. Doesn't mean it's, who knows how legit this is. Um Speaking of the Warriors, they might potentially lose 2 players this offseason. Maybe. Let's say the Suns do end up getting Jonathan Kuminga. I don't know how the financials would work with all of this, but let's say they do get Jonathan Kuminga. Um, Gary Payton II, who kind of feels like he's been with the Warriors for a long time because he has. Gary Payton II has generated recent free agent interest from the Bucks, the Heat, the Lakers, and the Phoenix Suns, and a potential return to the Warriors. Gary Payton II is one of the best remaining on-ball defenders in free agency. I've always liked Gary Payton II. He's also battled injuries. He's a decent player. He's a good defender. And for the right price, I would not mind this. For the right price. Again, I don't know how the financials would work with all this. I don't know. But that's why, Suns GM Brian Gregory, Suns front office, et cetera, et cetera. That's why they get paid millions of dollars to figure this stuff out. Also, I don't know how legit this next rumor is. I give it maybe a 10% chance. I don't even know if 10 would be right. I give it a very low percentage of this being legit or not. But apparently, and again, probably don't buy too much stock into this. Apparently, the Phoenix Suns are looking to add a veteran ball handler and have had discussions with Ben Simmons. Now, I think Gambo kind of sort of shut this down, but like this isn't the first time I've like seen this. And apparently it's coming from Mark Stein of the Stein line for what's that's worth. Phoenix Suns are looking to add a veteran ball handler after losing Tyus Jones of free agency. Sources told Mark Stein of the Stein line. The Suns have been in recent contact with Ben Simmons, who's also drawn interest from the Knicks, Celtics, and Kings. Blah blah blah. But now, and again, that was a few days ago. But like, I don't know how legit this is because of the recent signings that we just did. Sorry guys, I gotta take a sip of my water. like who knows? Like that Ben Simmons stuff probably could have, died down by now, which that does happen a lot. Sometimes guys like a rumor just starts up and then as quickly as the rumor starts up in the NBA, it dips down and flames out days after. But it kind of is worth noting. Um, and I know Ben Simmons clearly has not lived up to, you know, a former number one overall pick, even though he was like an all-star, I think twice. Um, and I know that like Sixers fans hate him and trust me, I get it. And I know that his career is kind of on sort of the decline because he's been bouncing around but I will say this, in all fairness to Ben Simmons, he is a pretty good defender and he can play make. If he's cheap, if he comes to the Suns for a cheap price, maybe. Am I crazy? Like I remember when there was a rumor about Ben Simmons signing with the Cavaliers last season, I was like, I kind of like that for Cleveland. I was like, you're getting like at least a decent defender who can pass the ball. You know what I mean? I'm like, for the right price, like Ben Simmons to Cleveland wouldn't be that bad. And I'm like, for the right price, if this Suns interest is real, I'm like, I wouldn't mind that for the Suns. Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy though. Maybe I'm delusional. I don't know. But again, now that we got Jordan Goodwin, and now that we got Jared Butler, and we have like so many other guards on this team, these rumors of Gary Payton II and Ben Simmons could just be, flamed out by now. So, you know. All right, guys. Last thing I'm going to talk about, and then we're going to get out of here. I know that we didn't really have too many people watching tonight, but I appreciate anybody who watches. I genuinely mean that from the bottom of my heart. All right, guys. Last topic, and then we're going to get out of here. But this isn't really Suns related, but it's at least NBA related. The Los Angeles Clippers, besides like the Atlanta Hawks, I think they've had an incredible offseason. And by the way, don't sleep on the Hawks offseason. Maybe we'll talk about that next in the next live show. But I think the Clippers have had a really good offseason, excuse me. And I know a lot of people are like, they're super old, blah, blah, blah. Guys, they have a extremely rich owner who I think is way richer than Matt Ishbia. They just opened a $1 billion stadium with a genius idea and what they call the wall, or the Clippers wall, whatever you want to call it. I've seen videos of it too. It's like insane. It's like a futuristic arena. They still have James Harden. They still have Kawhi Leonard. And most recently, as you guys already know, they just added Bradley Beal and they got Chris Paul. It's like, I understand why they're kind of going like all in. And I kind of like it. I like what they're doing. Like you have a super rich owner who wants to win, a very passionate rich owner in Steve Ballmer. You have a $1 billion arena. You're in Los Angeles and you have just great players. And now you added Bradley Beal, who I know Suns fans hate him and blah. Good riddance, Bradley Beal, blah, blah, blah. I get it, whatever. You add Bradley Beal, who can score, and you get one of the greatest point guards of all time in Chris Paul, even at the age of 40. And then they added John Collins, who I think they traded Norman Powell for. And you still got Zubac. You got Chris Dunn, who was picked up from them last season. I remember making a video saying that I wanted Chris Dunn on the Suns. You got former Phoenix Sun Derek Jones Jr., Nick Batum, Brooke Lopez, and probably like some other guys that I'm forgetting about. I like what the Clippers have done. If Kawhi can stay healthy, if James Harden can stay healthy, if Beal and Chris Paul can stay healthy, like, dude, I like what the Clippers have done. And the reason that was kind of Suns related is because, again, the Suns brought out Bradley Beal. Clippers signed him the same day. I think it was like 2 years, $11 million. And no trade clause. No trade clause, guys. If you're Clippers fans, if you are a Clippers fan and you're watching, Bradley Beal does not have a no trade clause. So, yeah, guys, I think that's it. I wasn't really planning on going live too long, anyways, because yeah. So I just wanted to kind of fill you guys in too, just a little bit. I kind of talked about it earlier during the show. I've just been very busy with life and work, and a lot of it's been good things. Like I had arguably the busiest summer of my life, not just with work, just with a lot of other things. Again, a lot of it was good things. I'm not trying to sit here and sound like I'm complaining. Like, truly, genuinely, a lot of my summer was building towards good things. And I tried my best to keep up with this channel, you guys, and I still am. I'm doing my best to keep up with this channel. I'm doing my best to provide you guys with the best Phoenix Suns content I can. But, like I'm not a robot either. Like I do have a life, I do have a job. Sometimes it's hard to be like, "Oh, I'm going to go do a live show for an hour or 2 hours." It's hard. Um, but just know that I really am doing my best. I'm working hard and just know that I am extremely busy. Like I do have a job with a lot of responsibilities and I have two dogs, for example, and just sometimes I'm just like, dude, I just want to hang out with my friends. Sometimes I want to play video games. Um, but like I said at the start of the show, I'm sort of in this like transition period right now with my job. And now that like, even though it still is summer, now that like June is kind of ending and like we're going into August, I hope that I'll have more time to do more live shows. Fingers crossed. And my original plan for like summer was to like get a whole bunch of guests on. And obviously that didn't happen. I feel like we did a decent amount of live shows, but I could have done a lot more, especially during the Bradley Beal stuff. Um, Now I hope to execute that plan. I hope to just get like one guest on per week. And even if it's not a show about the NBA or the Suns, like I hope to just do live shows, maybe talking about other stuff. I've talked about this on the channel before. I've even talked to some of my like friends and coworkers about it. I'm like, I would love to do a show where I just like interview somebody who has like a real podcast, like my guy John Boyda from the Suns Jam Session podcast. Talk about starting a podcast, talk about content creation, talk about life, talk about whatever. Like I want to kind of do shows like that, specifically during this off season. Because again, you guys, it's July 24th. The off season's kind of come to a screeching halt. We're letting like the dust settle. And unless there's like some massive league altering trade, like Nikola Jokic gets traded or something, which is very unlikely, but not impossible. Or like the Suns trade like Grayson Allen and Nick Richards or something. It's like we can kind of just talk about whatever for the next few months. And that way I'm still giving you guys content. We're still talking about the Suns, but we're also like sprinkling in like life and content creation and all that. That's my plan. And I'm going to do my best to execute it. And I sort of have a feeling, maybe just a thought, that I think a lot of these live shows are going to be kind of actually in the afternoons going forward. At least that's just right now. A lot of them probably still will be around this time, like nighttime, but kind of have a feeling that the live shows going forward might be during the day. We'll see. I don't know. I want to upload more YouTube shorts. I just put out my Las Vegas Summer League vlog. Go check that out right now. And just gonna be doing my best to create as create great content for you guys, create the best Phoenix Suns content that I can. I know that Suns fans are very spoiled with great podcasts and great Suns channels. But just know that I truly am doing my best for you guys, and I'm working very hard to keep this channel alive, to keep the live shows alive, and just to bring you guys the best Suns news and insight that I can. So, all right, guys, I'm done preaching. Thank you, Brian, for tuning in. I'm just refreshing TikTok. Thank you to everybody who joined on TikTok as well. Again, I don't do many live shows on TikTok, but I want to do more. So thank you to everybody that joined. Just overall, like, thank you to everybody. If you tune in on Facebook or whatever it may be, I really appreciate you guys. So, all right, that is it. Great live show. I promise you guys, I'm going to try my best to do more live shows from here on out. Hopefully this sort of opened the door to weekly live shows now, more consistent, videos and content about the latest Suns news. Like, I wish I could have covered that Bradley Beal stuff more in depth, but there's just a lot going on around that time. And I'm just like, dude, I just didn't make the time. So, all right, guys, on that note, I'm going to go play some video games. I'm going to go relax, take care of myself, take care of my mental health. I'm going to go get some sleep and relax, play video games, all that stuff. You guys have an awesome, safe, blessed weekend. Drink lots of water and be the light out in the world, you guys. We all know that it can be very dark in the world. So please be the light. Be kind to people, love people. Just be awesome, you guys. All right. I love you guys. Peace out. God bless. And you already know the drill. If it has to deal with the Phoenix Suns, I'm going to make a video about it. Win or lose, Suns for life. Peace out. God bless. And go Suns.
What's up, Suns?